Hello everyone, welcome to our new video. In this video, we are going to discuss the concept of functions or methods. Now, we know that a program, which is a set of instructions that has been given to a computer, and these instructions initiate some action and hence sometimes called executable instructions. Now, in Java programming language, the executable instructions are specified through methods or function. So, what is a function or method? A method or function is a sequence of some declaration sentences or and executable statements, or sometimes it's called procedures, subprograms, subroutines, etc. Now, in Java, which is an object-oriented programming language, we know that any action can take place through functions or methods, and methods have to exist as a part of some class. So programmers design object-oriented programs by deciding the first what specific actions have to be performed and what kind of objects should perform them. Now for this reason we actually use the functions. Now let us elaborate more. Why do we use actually functions? See, functions, we use the functions for many reasons. As when we are writing the programs, programs become more and more complex. That is when they gain in size, generally sooner or later they become unruly. One of the most powerful techniques to cope up with this complexity in the computer program is divide and conquer. That is to take a complex task and divide into smaller and more easily understood tasks. So this can be implemented with the help of method or function. So method or function that gives us this code that we can break the whole code into smaller segments, and after that we can perform the task of the smaller segments, which comprises the solution of the whole program. The next feature is that it hiding the detail. So once a method is defined, it can be used in a program. At the level of using it, we need not concern ourselves with how the method task is performed. We just get the task done through our methods. When we use a method, we are delegating the task of solving a low level problem to a method. So happens here, we can assume here a function as a block of capable of accepting one or more inputs, and after task it just produces output. So for the user, a function can be regarded as a black box that is capable of returning an output as per the execution code written inside in it. Similarly, all the methods available in Java class act as like a black box. Another most important feature of using method is the of the code or the segment of code. So once the task is packed in a method, that method is available to be accessed or called from anywhere in the program. When we actually access the method from any portion of the program, that is the term is usually called as calling the method. So the method can be reused, yes, and it can be called more than once in a program whenever required, and as well as it can be called from other programs or other classes also. So it is the most important concept here. For this we use the function. Now according to the definition, we can say that uh, a function is a module, a program module or a part of the program that is used simultaneously at different program to perform a specific task. Yeah, obviously the function must take some arguments as inputs, and after performing the task it produce some outputs, that is called returning a value. So while declaring the function in Java, a function or a method must be defined before it is used anywhere in the program. The general form of the function definition is treated as here. In this way, we can use the function. So, first is the access specifier, then followed by return type, then the function name, and then we have to use a parenthesis. Inside in the parenthesis, we can include the parameters, and after that we use the curly braces to define the body of the function. So the statements that are going to be executed, we write inside the curly braces the body of the function. So in this way, a function method or a method, a function or a method must be defined before it is used anywhere in the program. This is the general form of defining a method. Now let us look one example of it. See here, one function named as addition. The return type of the function is int, and the public, this one is the access specifier. So as we know that there are three access specifier, is that public, private or protected, so we can use any one between these three. So public int addition, and we inside in the parenthesis that accepting two parameters of data type integer, int a and int b, and the function can accept many parameters but separated by commas. So the body of the function int c equals to a plus b, and at the end of the function is returning a value, returning c. So the first line, it is the function header, and everything inside in the curly braces is known as the body of the method or function. Now we are going to discuss the components of the function. This is the access specifier, return type, function name and parameter list, all those. See, every function is started with the function header. It is the first line of the function, as we can say that in this example, public int addition, integer a integer. This is the function header. It is the first line of the function which contains access specifier, return type, method name, list of parameters. This method header is also referred to as the method prototype or function prototype sometimes. Now the other components which are actually start with the access specifier. Now access specifier, as we have started in the function method name, we have started with public int addition. So the access specifier can be either public, private or protected. These keywords are used to determine the type of the access to the function. The next one, which is the return type, it specifies the type of the value that return statement of the function returns. Now it may be of any valid Java data type. It can be integer, it can be character, string, any valid Java type, Java data type. If no value is being returned, it should be void. So the return type indicates the type of the outcome of a function to be returned to its caller. From caller means from where it has been called. In case a method doesn't return any value, it is not necessary that method always return a value. The method or a function can return a value, cannot return a value, may or may not return a value. That can be possible even. So in case when a function doesn't return any value, it return, the return type is mentioned as void, that represents a non-returnable method. When a function is defined to return some output, then inside in the body of we must include the return statement. As we can see that the last line of the this function public int addition, this function, we have include a return c. This is the last statement, return keyword we have to include, because the function is returning a value. As we have not specified void here, rather we have used int, so it indicates the function is returning some value. It's integer type value the function is returning, and there we must use the return statement, and the variable that is returning also must be of that same type. See, the variable c is of integer there, since the function is returning an integer value, so the return type of the function should be integer, and therefore the value that we are returning, we must use the same data type. Next, the function name. Well, function name has to be a valid Java identifier. We learn about the identifiers, and it must be a valid Java identifiers. And when we are using the naming, then we will use all the rules. We will just use all the rules for naming an identifier. But remember here, we have to remember here one thing, that giving a method name, that must be meaningful. It should begin with a lowercase letter. We can also start it with the uppercase letter, and no spaces are allowed, no commas are allowed, nothing. The parameter list, it's a comma separated list of variables of a function referred to as its arguments or parameters. So it is a list of variables with their respective data types. See here, in this function, uh, we have accepted two parameters a and b as a parameter. Two variables are accepted by this function, and the data type are also as int. So parameter list, a list of variables with the respective data types required by the function for internal computations, and this has been passed during the method call. Well, again, a function may or may not accept parameters. An empty parameter list indicates that the function doesn't receive any kind of value during its call. That can also be done. Then in that case, we shouldn't have to specify anything between these parentheses. So that means an empty parameter list. And the last one, which is the method block or the body of the function, it contains the set of statements for related operations. And these statements are enclosed within a pair of curly braces. Here, the statement are actually enclosed within a pair of curly braces, is known as the method block or the body of the method or the body of the function. So these are the main components of a method or a function. Now we will learn about function prototype and function signature. If we just look on the example, see this one, public int maximum int x int y, or say if we write another example, say uh, public void accept. So there are two functions that has been specified here. One with return type and accepting also the parameter. Int is the return type and it's accepting integer parameters, and one function without return type, as because we have mentioned here void, and also it's not accepting any parameter because the argument list is empty argument list. So in both cases, what is the function prototype? A function prototype, it is actually the first line of the function. It is the first line of the function that describes the function interface to the compiler by giving details such as the number and the type of arguments and the type of the return values. With the help of this function prototype, a compiler can carefully compare each use of the function with the prototype to determine whether the function is invoked properly. That is, the number and the type of the arguments are compared, and any wrong number of type of arguments is reported. This helps the compiler to print out errors easily. And with this function prototype, we have another term included as function signature. It is the related term function signature that is basically refers to the number and type of arguments. Well, it is the part of the function prototype. Function signature and return type makes the function prototype. So this is the function, the public int maximum int xy. This is the function prototype, and the number of types of arguments that has been accepted is the function signature. So this is all about the functions and methods, and how can we use the functions and methods, how to how the functions and method, how do we define the functions and methods in Java or in other programs. So thanks for watching the video. In our next video, we will discuss about how we can call the functions and methods. So today up to this. If you like the video, then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, though who haven't yet subscribed this, and share the video with others. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.